Filing Made Easy, Unit 1, Section 1, Rules 1 through 5. Rule number 1, alphabetizing names. After names have been indexed, they can be alphabetized. Alphabetized means placed in correct alphabetical order. This is done by comparing them unit by unit and letter by letter as follows. Step 1, compare the first units of the names letter by letter. If the first units are identical, compare the second units letter by letter. If the first two units are identical, compare the third units letter by letter, and so on. Remember to index all the names in the exercise before you place them in alphabetical order. Remove all punctuation marks as you index and alphabetize each name. In the example below, the letter that determines the alphabetical order has been underlined. In this example, the names Lenny Williams, Dan O. Winton, Anthony Roy Clanton, Anthony Ray Clanton, and Ray Clarkston have been alphabetized. Step 1 is to place all of the last names into the Unit 1 column. For example, number 1, Lenny Williams. The last name is Williams, so that it goes under Unit 1. The first name is Lenny, so it goes under Unit 2. In the second one, Dan O. Winton. Winton being the last name, Dan being the first name, and O being the middle initial. Winton goes in Unit 1, Dan goes in Unit 2, and O goes in Unit 3. When alphabetizing, the first step is to look at the last name. If you look at the list of names, the first letter that we would look at would be the C. We have 3 names that start with the letter C: Clanton, Clanton, and Clarkston. Both Clanton and Clarkston start with C-L-A. When we get to the next letter, N and R, we can decide that N comes before R. So we know that Clanton will be before Clarkston. We have 2 names that have the same last name of Clanton. These names will be our first 2 names, but we must decide which one goes first, Anthony Ray Clanton or Anthony Roy Clanton. Because the last names are exactly the same, we go to Unit 2, which is the first names. Once again, we have 2 names that are exactly the same, Anthony. So we move to Unit 3, Roy and Ray. Both names start with R, so we look at the second letter. The second letter in Roy is an O, and the second letter in Ray is an A. We know that A comes before O, so we know that Anthony Ray Clanton will be before Anthony Roy Clanton. Our next last name that starts with C is Clarkston. We know that that will come next because our other 2 names both start with W. That leaves us with Williams and Winton. Williams and Winton both start with W-I. The third letter in Williams is L, and the third letter in Winton is N. Because L becomes before N, we know that Lenny Williams will come before Dan O. Winton. Pause the video and attempt to do exercise 1A, self-check on your own. Once you have completed exercise 1A, check your answers on the answer sheet. The answers will be found on page 73. Complete self-check exercise 1B. Index and alphabetize the following names in the spaces provided. Rule number 2, nicknames and abbreviated first names. Nicknames of individuals such as Jimmy, Annie, and Johnny are indexed and alphabetized as written in the same way that other first names are indexed and alphabetized as written. Abbreviated first names of individuals, such as WM for William, ROBT for Robert, are indexed and alphabetized as they are written in abbreviated form. Abbreviated names are not spelled out. Also, remember that punctuation marks are ignored when names are indexed and alphabetized. You're going to use the same procedure that you used with exercise 1. You first put all of the last names into Unit 1, the first names into Unit 2, and the middle names into Unit 3, if there is one. Then decide what order the names will be listed in order to meet alphabetical order. Complete self-check exercise number 2. Check your answers on page 73. Rule 3, nothing before something. A single unit name, a name that has only one indexing unit, such as Zach or Smith, is alphabetized before the same name that has an additional filing units. For example, the name Zach is alphabetized before the name James Zach. A last name with a first initial only is alphabetized before the same last name that has a full first name beginning with the same letter. For example, the name B. Thomas is alphabetized before the name Betty Thomas. In other words, nothing comes before something when placing names in correct alphabetical order. If you look at this next list, all of the last names begin with T-H-O-M. In number 6, only one name is given, T-H-O-M, Tom. That will fall under Unit 1. In number 1, Tom is Unit 1. In number 2 and 3, Unit 1 is Thompson. And in numbers 4 and 5, Unit 1 is Thomas. In Unit 2, for number 1, we have Mayor. Unit 2 for number 2 is M. Matthew is Unit 2 for number 3. And Mayor is Unit 2 for numbers 4 and 5. When you go to compare, you have 2 names in Unit 1 that are just T-H-O-M. The other 4 have T-H-O-M followed by another letter. Because there is nothing after the M in numbers 1 and 6, we know that those are going to be our first ones when we put them in alphabetical order. Using the idea that something comes after nothing or nothing comes before something, you can determine that Tom, number 6, is going to be first because there isn't anything in Unit 2. Complete self-check exercise number 3. Check your answers and ask questions if needed. Rule number 4, names with prefixes. A last name that begins with a prefix, such as McLean or De Leon, is considered to be one unit even if there is a space between the prefix and the rest of the name. In indexing and alphabetizing, the prefix and the last name are written as one word with no spaces or punctuation marks. Below you will see some common prefixes. When indexing the name Marie Del Rio, Del Rio is the last name so that it falls under Unit 1. However, when writing it into Unit 1, the space between the L in Del and the R in Rio is removed, so it's all one word, Del Rio. In number 3, Manny San August becomes one word. In number 4, Mary St. Augustine becomes one word. In number 5, John DeRico, D and Rico are put together into one word. Check your answers for exercise number 4 once you have completed it. The last rule, rule number 5 in this section, is on hyphenated names. Hyphenated names, such as Anne Marie, are considered to be one unit. In indexing and alphabetizing, ignore the hyphen and write the two words together as one unit. Just like you did with names that had prefixes, you eliminate the hyphen and the space and put the names together into one unit. For example, number 1, Mayor Archer, you remove the hyphen and it becomes one word. Remember to keep the capital letters, but remove the hyphen and any spaces. In number 4, John Paul, the first name, goes in unit 2, but without the hyphen or any spaces. Complete exercise number 5 and check your answers on page 73. Self-check review exercise 1. The following exercise is based on filing rules 1 through 5. Index and alphabetize the following names in the spaces provided. Then check your answers. If you had any errors in indexing or alphabetizing, go back and look at the rules that you previously learned to figure out where your mistakes are. Review the rule and make needed corrections in your answers. Be sure you understand all of the rules. If you made any mistakes at all, complete self-check reinforcement exercise 1 below. Once you have completed the reinforcement exercise 1, make sure you check your answers. If you are sure you have mastered the first 5 rules, you will take out your proficiency checkup number 1 packet, which is on page 87. Complete the checkup and submit to a job coach to check your answers. If you have completed that correctly, you will move on to the next step.